We're told the camera should be invisible, that if it's doing its job right, we won't notice it's there, that emotion comes from story, and story comes from character, and character comes from performance. But if that were always true, why do we sometimes cry when the camera moves? Why do we hold our breath during a tracking shot? Why does a slow pan toward nothing at all make us feel like something's breaking inside us? There's a quiet contradiction here, that the most emotionally honest moments in cinema often come from something we're not supposed to notice. And yet, Roger Deakins makes us feel more with a single camera movement than most directors do with a monologue. Deakins doesn't just frame emotion, instead he moves through it. There's a moment in Sicario that still haunts me. It's not the border shootout, not the gunfire, not the blood. It's earlier, a convoy crawling across the bridge between the US and Juarez. The sun is low, the air feels thick, and the camera breathes. At first, it's still. We sit inside the SUV with Emily Blunt's character. We see what she sees. But then slowly, almost imperceptibly, the camera begins to drift. It glides past her window, moves down the line of cars, lingers too long on another soldier's hand, twitching on the trigger. You don't know what's coming, but your body does. That's what Deakins is doing. He's not just capturing an image, he's creating anticipation. Tension before the tension. Fear before the threat. And when the ambush finally erupts, it doesn't feel like a surprise. It's just a confirmation of what you already felt coming, long before it arrived. That's the trick, the magic, the emotional sleight of hand. The camera moved, and something inside you moved too. Across Deakins' work, this pattern repeats. Not in technique, he's not a one-trick stylist, but in intention. He never draws attention to the camera, but he never lets it be passive. Every shot is designed to feel like it's watching, or remembering, or longing. In No Country for Old Men, the camera feels haunted, like it's trailing the characters, never ahead of them. We're always arriving a second too late, like the violence already happened, and we're left to sift through the aftermath. In The Assassination of Jesse James, the movement is poetic, drifting, languid even. Deakins shoots like he's already grieving. He softens the edge of the frame with old lenses, creates vignettes that blur into memory. The camera doesn't capture Jesse James. It mourns him. In Blade Runner 2049, the movement becomes austere, almost geometric. The camera doesn't follow people, it follows architecture. It doesn't chase action, it submits to space. It's clinical but somehow aching, cold yet desperate to feel something real. There's no one way he moves the camera, there's only why he moves it. We like to think we're rational observers, that we see something and then we feel it. But Deakins knows the truth is reversed. We feel something first, and then we spend the rest of the shot trying to understand why. His camera isn't objective, it's not a documentarian. It's not capturing. Instead, I would say it's confessing. It's a look you give someone after an argument when you can't find the right words, so your body speaks for you. It's the feeling of being watched, even when you're alone. The sense that something important is happening, even if no one says it. We don't just see his shots, we recognize ourselves in them. Because that's what his best camera movement does. It bypasses logic. It skips the cue of language. It speaks directly to the emotional nervous system. It makes your stomach drop, makes your chest tighten, makes you ache without knowing why. So let me ask you something. What scene still lives in your body? Not because of what was said, not because of what happened, but because the camera moved and you felt it. Have you ever noticed your breath sinking to a tracking shot? Have you ever felt your heart slow down just because the frame held too long? Have you ever realized that the camera understood the characters better than you did? If a moment like that found you, I want to know. Drop it in the comments. Not just to share it, but to pass it on, because someone else might need that same movement, that same emotion, and that same silent recognition. The older I get, the more I notice. I don't remember entire films anymore. I remember fragments, details, one movement, one image. The slow push-in on a character who knows something she can't say. The wide shot that holds long after the music has stopped. The tilt of the world when someone realizes that they're alone. That is Deakins' legacy. Not just the beauty of the frame, but the motion inside it. His work teaches us that the camera doesn't need to be flashy to be felt. It doesn't need to scream at us to make us cry. It just needs to know when to lean in and when to hold still. Because sometimes the most powerful story a camera can tell is the one it doesn't explain.